Without further ado, I would like to welcome Mayor Gentry to give his third State of the City address.
Well, I'm always told to never outwalk your applause line, so I think I've nailed that one. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As always, it's truly my pleasure and honor to address this assembly of Lebanon's finest citizens. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, there's a very important game that tips today at 12:40, so I will try to keep this as succinct as possible. But first, I would like to pause for a moment just to reflect on the tragic events that impacted our community over the last 2 weeks. It would be hard to imagine a worse 36 hours for Lebanon. A young person lost, her friends significantly injured in an automobile accident, a city leader's sudden and unexpected passing, and of course the loss of a law enforcement officer in the line of duty. My prayers have been with the families and friends of the victims of these tragedies and also for our community as a whole. I pray that our community would and will continue to find the strength to support those in need of help and come together not just to mourn these losses, but also find reconciliation and peace. So before writing today's speech, I took some time to review the speech I gave to this group last year. As someone that often gets frustrated with the speed of government, it was refreshing to see the significant progress that we were making as an administration and as a community. Our work is by no means done, but I'm very happy to report that we are making great and significant strides. I'm also pleased to say that our state of our city is strong. It has been an emotional, challenging, yet also productive beginning to 2018 at City Hall. In February, the Redevelopment Commission and the City Council approved funding for our Downtown Action Plan that will transform not only our downtown, but ignite development and improvements across our entire community. This plan was the result of more than 18 months of soliciting public feedback, planning, public engagement, refining. Over the years, Lebanon has created several downtown plans. Unfortunately, these plans have mostly sat around on shelves at City Hall, gathering dust. So when we began this process, there were two requirements for this plan that would make it different than the ones that came before it. One, public feedback and input would guide the design and the plan, and two, the plan would be action-oriented. During the public engagement process, more than 1,000 citizens responded to surveys and submitted their ideas, priorities, and wants. This feedback formed the core of the plan. We had hundreds of citizens attend open houses. They asked questions, shared concerns, and received information. The open dialogue and communication concerning this project has never stopped and won't until the very last tree is planted. Over the course of this initiative, some have asked, now usually on social media, why are we doing this? Why are we spending all of this money on our downtown? Well, for those of you that may have had similar thoughts, here's my answer. We are focusing on our downtown because it is the heart and soul of our community. It is the place where people should gather to spend time with their family, friends, neighbors, in good times and bad. An article about community development I read recently posed a question. How do you determine the most important place in a community? Its response was somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I also think somewhat poignant. It said, if there was a revolution happening in your community, where would the protests begin? Now, I don't know about you. I don't know about revolutions here in Lebanon, but I know that our downtown would be that nexus of that type of action. As we saw over the last few weeks, when the community first sought to find a place to console and remember, it was on our downtown square. So if our downtown is the most important place and most important public place in the heart of our community, what does it say about us if our downtown has seen better days? I challenge you, the next time you're downtown, look hard at the details. Take a moment to really focus on the little things. Look at everything like you were a visitor seeing our majestic courthouse for the very first time. You will see mismatched lights that don't work, cracked and crumbling sidewalks, crooked posts, and other signs of significant wear. Sadly, once you see these deficiencies, you won't stop seeing them. The investment we are making in our downtown is being funded by a bond through our TIP district, which means that this multi-million-dollar project will be able to be accomplished without raising the citizens of Lebanon's property taxes by 1 penny. The last major investment occurred in our downtown more than 30 years ago, in 1987. For the record, I was not born yet. So I think it's fair to say it's time. I hope that you would agree that it's time for the next chapter of our downtown to begin. The project's bid documents went live last month, and we have received a bid for construction. As specified in these documents, construction will begin in April. The project will begin on Main Street and then work our way around the square, completing Meridian and then Washington Street. So we've estimated completion date of the three sides of the square to be completed in November of this year. Once the square is complete, the Big Four Trail extension will connect our downtown. To connect our downtown will begin in 2019. Our plan to preserve and improve our downtown charm. Our plan will preserve and improve our downtown charm, embrace our history, and make downtown back into the strong, beating heart of our community that has been in the past. Now, as you probably can tell, I'm passionate about our downtown, and its revitalization is a key pillar of our community development. However, it's not the only project in the works. As you probably have noticed, when the weather is warmer, our street department has been working diligently for the last 2 years to improve our roads here in town. So Lebanon has about 90 miles of roads within our city limits. When I came in office a little bit more than 2 years ago, about 57% of the roads were rated as a 3 or less on a scale of 1 to 10. 78% of our roads were rated less than 5. So in the last 2 years, we've actually resurfaced and reconstructed more than 30 miles of roads in town. We have paved more roads in the last 2 years than we have in the last decade. We've been able to do this by taking a systematic and strategic approach by repairing our worst roads first, regardless of where in the city it is and who lives on the road. We have received more than $500,000 from the state as part of the Community Crossings Grant program. It has been an invaluable program to help us leverage local dollars to focus on our roads. Since I don't think OSHA will let me on a paving machine, all the credit has to go to Larry Lee and our great street department crew for all the hard work that they've been putting in over the years. So our focus on infrastructure goes beyond just the roads. My administration also placed priority on sidewalks and pedestrian infrastructure. The maintenance and improvements of these pathways are critically important as we try to build a connected and healthy community. We've installed hundreds of ADA accessible ramps, made the largest investment in sidewalks in recent memory. In this year's budget, we have $150,000 budgeted to fix the worst of the worst and install connectors where sidewalks should be. Last year, we completed a sidewalk inventory analysis of our system. When we had a team evaluating every foot of sidewalk in our community. Similar to our road Pazer system, we now have a report that shows us where the worst sidewalks are in town and located the trip hazards and obstructions in our system. It identified where a sidewalk stops for no apparent reason or on a previous sidewalk that has degraded into nothing. With this information, we can address the gaps and truly begin to reestablish connections between our neighborhoods. In order to solve a large infrastructure challenge, you must assess the scope and the current status of the problem. By having this data and report, we can take a systematic and comprehensive approach to make sure every sidewalk in town one day is passable for children and citizens of all ages. Communities around America are focused on providing the highest quality of life possible for their citizens. Since we are blessed to be in Indiana, we are not blessed with mountains or oceans, which means our city park system must become a critical component of our quality of life. I am pleased to report that in 2018, our park system will take another leap forward. Last year, we completed a Parks Master Plan. This plan serves as our blueprint for the next decade of improvement in our parks. John Messenger and I are focused on finding the funding to make this plan into a reality. Discussions with City Council have already begun, and to find the funding to rebuild the restrooms near the baseball diamond in Memorial Park that have seen better days, and also construct a splash pad in Abner Longley Park. This splash pad is not a new idea. In fact, it was promised as part of the pool expansion project. Unfortunately, for financial reasons, at the time it was never completed, never constructed. I have challenged John Messenger and the City Council to prioritize this project so that we have children enjoying a splash pad here in Lebanon on Memorial Day of 2019. In 2017, we were also able to reopen the hot pond to the community. Anyone that has ever worked through a process with the EPA or Indiana Department of Environmental Management will understand that it was a long and challenging process to work through. However, its reopening is a significant achievement. As laid out in the Parks Master Plan, we are also working on developing the former Conservation Club into a unique asset that will be enjoyed for generations to come. Recently, discussion has sprung up around the idea of a park for our four-legged friends. I believe it would be a fitting tribute to honor Deputy Jacob Pickett, who faithfully served with his canine companion, Brick. Deputy Pickett still had a passion for animals, especially dogs, and I think finding a location for a dog park to name in his honor would be a fitting tribute to him. The city is still assessing the feasibility of several locations around town. It is my intention to pursue a Creating Places grant from the state of Indiana for this endeavor. Under this program, the state will match up to $50,000 of community-raised funds to improve a public space. At this moment, I cannot think of a better cause to bring a community together. Quality of life amenities like parks and active downtowns are critical, but they are pointless if a community is not safe. After challenging recent events, I have no hesitation to say that I'm extremely proud of every single one of our officers and leadership of our police department. In 2017, we were able to add 4 additional police officers and a civilian crime scene investigator. The increased boots on the ground are accomplishing the goal of making those who would break the law uncomfortable in Lebanon. Our men and women in uniform work hard every day to disrupt the black market of illegal drugs. This is an unending task, but we are making progress and working to keep our community safe. However, it's important to remember that we can't just address the supply side of the market. As a community, we must also work to address the demand side. Mental illness is a significant and complicated challenge to our community and state and nation, and we're all struggling to address it. I'm pleased to say that we are building relationships with organizations and working with all levels of government to find a solution to this problem. In 2017, we also added an additional 6 full-time professional firefighters to our fire department. This additional increases of staffing and improves the response and capabilities of our fire department. A year later, I still believe the largest challenge to the fire service is this fear that I have no power to correct. I still have concerns about the relationship between Lebanon Fire and Center Township Fire Department. For those that may not know, we have 2 completely separate fire departments that operate within the city limits of Lebanon. Center Township makes about 85% of their emergency runs within the city limits of Lebanon. However, there is zero oversight from my office or Fire Chief Batts. Let me be very clear. I have no concerns with the firefighters in Center Township. They're all dedicated, brave men, which is why if a unification were ever to occur, every professional firefighter at Center Township Fire Department will be offered a full-time position at Lebanon Fire Department. I still firmly believe it is in the best interest of our both Lebanon and the unincorporated Center Township citizens to join our fire departments. With a merger, a unified fire department would be able to provide a higher level of protection and service to all residents of Center Township at a lower cost. In 2018, our city will vote on the Center Township trustees election. I urge everyone to consider the candidates and determine which want to maintain the status quo and which candidate wants to provide a higher level of service at a lower cost to taxpayers. Last year, we added 2 key department heads at City Hall. The first being City Engineer Kevin Krulik, which is just coming up on his 1-year anniversary, or just passed it. And the second is Ben Bontrager, our Director of Planning. So I'm not sure if they knew what they signed up for when they took the jobs, but it's fair to say that Kevin and Ben have hit the ground running. In the past 9 months, I think it's hard to envision our office being any busier. You've probably heard that we have 2 neighborhoods that are currently working through the development process. We also have several other significant development projects that you'll be hearing about soon. When I was running for mayor, I thought we had about 5 years to prepare for the significant changes that are coming Lebanon's way. It turns out we only had about 2. So Lebanon is currently at a tipping point, and my administration is focused on preparing and growing the right way. Lebanon is a special place, and we want to preserve the things that make Lebanon unique, but also improve the things that can make it better. A unique initiative the city is currently working on is the transformation of the former Kincaid Estes dealership into an innovation hub. As part of my Lebanon Vision 2020 plan, I proposed the idea of a co-working space as a way to foster and grow entrepreneurship in this community. I am pleased to report that this initiative is progressing well. The city has released a request for proposals to attract an operator to fill this space. The Innovation Hub is Economic Development 101 and has the ability to foster and support local companies that could one day change the world. In terms of economic development 2017 was a banner year. When Pearson Education left our community, it hurt. People lost jobs, and the city lost significant revenue. Now, filling an aging million-plus square foot building was not easy. However, we were able to do it by attracting XPO Logistics. This company will bring almost 1,200 jobs to Lebanon and more than $30 million of economic investment. This is one of the largest economic development deals in terms of number of jobs in Boone County history. Kin's Foods is nearing completion of their building and will begin hiring this month. And then we'll begin making barbecue sauce and salad dressings by the end of spring. A few weeks ago, it was also announced that Monasol will be coming to Lebanon and investing nearly $70 million into our local economy. They will hire 89 individuals with an average wage of more than $25 an hour. Monasol, for your information, is a company. They make the water-soluble plastic film for products like Tide Pods or Cascade Pods and things like that. So that'll be, so now I know we're already all buying Sweet Baby Ray's, but now we'll have to start buying the Tide Pods as well too now. Just last week, IBC Coatings has announced that they will be expanding. IBC Coatings has been in Lebanon for the last 20 years and will hire an additional 14 new employees with an average wage of $24 an hour. This expansion will be nearly $5 million as well. So, from the economic development front, we are progressing very, very well, and we are attracting a lot of great companies to Lebanon, but also still supporting companies that want to grow here. So we also continue to focus on attracting life science, agribusiness, and automotive manufacturing to Lebanon. So in the interest of time, I know I can't talk about every project and initiative the city has currently working on, but I hope you can see why I'm so optimistic about the future of Lebanon's future. My administration is focused on putting people first. So most importantly, we've been able to accomplish all of this work with a property tax freeze. The city tax rate that you paid in 2015 is exactly what it is today. There will always be challenges to face and problems to solve, but I'm grateful for the confidence this community has placed in me to work on your behalf. Our Lebanon has a bright future ahead of it, and I hope you're willing and excited to be a part of it. Again, thank you for inviting me here today.
Yes, I think we're all very excited to hear all of these initiatives, and I think the next year is going to be quite the changes to the city of Lebanon, and we look forward to even next year's address and everything that comes between. So thank you, sir, so much.
Excellent. Thank you.